As the founder of Tibetan Buddhism proclaimed, nothing except mind can be conceived. Everything we conceive is conceived in mind. Everything we conceive are concepts in and of the mind. We never conceive anything but mind. Two people come across a treasure. Do they conceive the same thing? No. One conceives something to hoard, and the other conceives something to give away. Why? Because they are not conceiving the treasure. They are conceiving the nature of their own minds. Direct pointing to reality means using the world of appearances to give immediate expression to the nature of mind. The purpose of such activity is straightforward and simple. For the enlightened, there is no other activity possible. The consequence of such activity is less direct and more complex. There is always the possibility that such behavior is witnessed by others at an especially auspicious time, resulting in their direct first-hand perception of the non-dual nature of mind. Conceive mind, not the concepts of mind, not the concepts in mind, mind. Turn the light of mind back onto itself. Recognize that all you have ever conceived has always been mind. Take up your mind and conceive no concepts. Thoughts arise over and over again, especially thoughts with emotional intensity. Once they arise, we follow them out to the end, even though we have done so thousands of times before. We follow them to the end the next time they arise as well. The thoughts gain strength, and with each repetition, making up a large part of our internal concept of ourselves. We believe we are these thoughts, that they are us, even though we are not consciously bringing them to mind. Imagine wearing the same clothes every day and never consciously putting them on, believing that they form your identity, and yet you are unable to remember ever having bought them. Who do you think is in there? Master Kai Alksdi would ask me, tapping my forehead. Which of your roles in life have you mistaken for yourself? They are not my thoughts if I am not intentionally thinking them. They are simply residual artifacts of my running commentary on my life. They are not substantially different than an advertising jingle I can't get out of my head. They are strings of synaptic associations in the brain that fire off automatically and have become habit. Habit thoughts arise, yes, but I do not have to follow them. I can cut them short, cutting them off as soon as they arise. I stop following them to the end. I take up different thoughts of my conscious choosing. I create new habits. The old ones fall away because they are no longer reinforced by my following them out to their inevitable conclusion. In this work of self-transformation, the imagination becomes the eyes of the soul. In a paradoxical stance of receptive creativity, attention is both relaxed in order to sense each emerging symbol and concentrated in order to transmute the symbol into its emerging sphere. The word sphere here carries with it a multitude of connotations. It points at the creative activity of the soul within the world soul, wherein individual and collective spheres of light are envisioned and given form. The world soul itself is a sphere of light, as is each individual soul. The creations within the world soul by individual souls must of necessity be spheres of light as well. When sensed or transmuted, these living symbols do not necessarily appear as spheres, of course, but that is the mystical image and likeness of the divine origin with which they are imprinted. open the eyes of the soul and simply wonder, what is our work? What arrives in answer to your question is the mystical source of awe. Grandeur, glory, majesty, gravity, immensity, vastness, splendor, grace, transcendence, holiness, rapturous, exalted, exalting. There is nothing in the human world to prepare you for the presence of a being higher up the world axis. Waves of spiritual power flow from a nearly unbearable presence. If not for the loving kindness and compassion radiating from its brilliance, its aura of awful potential would be too dreadful to withstand. It is at once both gloriously wise and darkly innocent. It sees through you like a mirror even as it reveals your true promise. It is at once the lightning bolt and the thunderclap. The original mind carries within it an image of the personifications of the world soul. These angelic spheres of light are not ascending the world axis. They are the permanent embodiments of the world soul itself, the highest manifestations of the world soul. As such, they are the archetypes of individual souls. There is an archetype for every soul that ever existed or ever will exist within the life realm. There is an angel for every soul that has ever or will ever exist in the life realm. A mountain angel, a river angel, a cloud angel, a tree angel, a wolf angel, an eagle angel, and of course, a human being angel. Moreover, there are archetypes of the souls of ideas that emanate from the mind realm above. There is the wisdom angel, the devotion angel, the truth angel, the blessing angel, the comfort angel, the refuge angel, the community angel, the solitude angel, the change angel, the continuity angel, the creative angel. Ritual ruptures the continuity of linear time by opening a sacred space within which the nawal may pour into the tonal. This rupture then paradoxically reestablishes the continuity of cyclic time within which the soul reenacts the binding of the end of time back to its beginning. Such ritual embodies the simultaneous rebirth of the soul and the renewal of creation, assuring the continuity of the harmonious co-creation of the microcosmos and the macrocosmos. Because ritual disrupts the normal flow of time, returning us to the primordial act of creation, we stand exposed to the timeless creative forces that are ancient before creation begins. The sacred space within which this occurs may appear very different to different practitioners, but its atmosphere, the feeling it evokes, is universally one of awe. It is as though one stands upon the pinnacle of a precipice before a vast emptiness into which arrive beings of such age, power, and grace that the soul is brought to tears of rejoicing. This ecstatic vision lingers as the creative forces use their own bodies to reveal the primordial act of creation. This experience becomes the macrocosmic archetype for every microcosmic act of benefit, benevolence, beauty, and creativity to henceforth flow from one's being. The urgic ritual, therefore, is an essential step in the soul's ascent of the world axis as it makes its way from the soul realm into the mind realm. As such, it is part of one's return to the act of creation that spurs the soul upward toward the One. The higher soul sacrifices a portion of its divine fire in order to animate the physical body and initiate the birth of the lower soul, of a new soul. It is this portion of the divine fire that is embodied in the life realm. Even as the higher soul remains in the timeless mind realm, its divine fire is carried through the time-bound lifetime of the mortal soul. This divine fire forms the core, the essence of the lower soul, becoming the spiritual mirror within which the memories of the lifetime are cast. It is this portion of the divine fire, too, that pulls the lower soul to unite with the higher soul. It is that which recognizes the other as the same. Like approaches like. It was a couple hours before dawn when I woke to find Don Alfredo tending the fire. It was glorious, casting dancing light and shadows on the clearing before us. But I couldn't help wondering why, after such a long day of intense physical effort, he was taking such pains staying awake with the fire. I sat up and experienced the strangest sensation. The roof of the cave was not much higher than my head, so when I sat, the sky and mountains were all blocked from view. All that was really visible was the bonfire and the dark beyond. Unaccountably, I had the distinct impression of looking out of an eye, as if the cave were an eye socket and the fire at the cave's entrance the light of the eye. The slab of volcanic rock was ahead, and I sat in the third eye, gazing out at the world into which I had been born. I felt entirely disembodied, a personal consciousness that had been transferred into an utterly alien body. I was profoundly perplexed. Was I the eye itself? Was I the mind behind the eye? Don Alfredo tossed something into the fire and flames leaped high, sending sparks towards the stars. An owl hooted loudly from the nearby trees. "Are you dreaming?" he asked me matter-of-factly. I blinked. I shifted my gaze from him to the fire and back again. The sensation of looking out of an eye persisted. If anything, it seemed more vivid. "I don't understand," I answered tentatively. "Your shadow is dreaming," he replied, tossing something into the fire, stirring it to flare again. Things moved in the dark just on the other side of the bonfire. Shadows, moving on their own. "Your shadows can see the shadows of the dead," he explained as if to a child. Now I understood why the fire was kept burning all night, separating us from the shadow of night. I was suddenly very tired. "Be careful to lie back down in the right position," he cautioned, nodding behind me. "You can harm yourself otherwise." I turned. My body was lying on its left side facing the cave wall. I shifted around, taking care to lie down in the same position. Don Alfredo tossed something into the fire, and the eye closed again. "What is essential to understand," Robert Sharp used to say, "is that the Nawal is a real world on the other side of the tonal, and that there is an ancient lineage of savants dedicated to opening the gate of immortality that stands between them."